Hi everyone, I'm in my gardening room today and I'm here to show you how to plant ginger and turmeric in a container. Now we're here in zone 5AB and it's fall, really cold outside. Typically you're supposed to plant ginger and turmeric. If you're going to plant it, it'll be early spring. However, I'm going to try to plant it indoors and see how it grows over the winter. Now I have done this once before and I really didn't have a problem, even though everywhere that I've looked it says plant it in the spring. I'm going to give it a shot. Now I do have grow lights and I find that if the light levels are low and it's maybe leaning to one side, I can stick it under a grow light. And it's fairly warm in certain parts of my house, so I'm going to give it a go and see what happens, and I'll definitely post updates as they grow. However, I've got some here and I thought, why not, right? It's winter time coming up soon and I'm really feeling the itch to get in the garden and I can't because it's really cold, the ground is cold, and basically everything is done outside. So it's a great way to do some more gardening and to fill that itch and fill that void of gardening by planting something inside your house in a container. Now turmeric and ginger are very easy to grow just from these tubers. So these are tubers, or rhizomes actually, because they do grow sideways. Their root is this, it's a rhizome type root. It does not grow, ginger and turmeric don't grow from roots, they grow from these things, which are rhizomes. And we actually consume the rhizome when we're eating it. Now, I found this really nice healthy piece at the health food store, it's organic. And so what I did was I laid it on a plate for about 3-4 days just to get it activated with a little bit of water underneath. And what that's done is, I'm not sure if you can see this here, but it's actually greened up the tip. And I do have another piece I want to show you right here. See, that's right here. So this has greened up the tip. I found it activated, but also it did have these little tiny points that looked like they were a little bit fresher than maybe the rest and possibly could grow quickly. So I'm going to give it a go. Now, you could also not do that and you could just plant it. It does require some patience, but I was hoping that by putting it on a little plate of water that it would actually speed it up a little bit, because growing ginger and turmeric, it's just a slow process, takes a while for it to get activated and grow. So I'm trying to give it a little head start. So that was my little trick. So hopefully it's going to work, and I believe it will. My turmeric is not the nicest piece in the world, but I did find this, and it was at an Asian grocery store. It wasn't particularly fantastic, but I'm hoping that it's fresh enough that it will actually grow. And so it grows similar to ginger. I see a little piece right in there, which looks like, I might actually take this off right there. That may be a good point for it to get started right there. And so anyways, I'm going to plant them. Now they planted really similarly. Now I am planting in a soilless medium. So it's something that I use for starting seeds. It's called a Promix, and it has a nice, it's a peat based, it's got perlite in it, and I add vermiculite, and I also added worm casting. So ginger and turmeric are heavy feeders. They do require a lot of nutrients in order to grow successfully. So I did add into my mix, and my mix is right here, I did add about 1/3 of this mix, actually maybe a bit less, is worm castings. And worm castings are fantastic fertilizer. They're basically the poop of worms. And so when I start my seeds, I always add worm castings into my Promix, and I find that I get really healthy seedlings from it. Now, because this is not a seedling, well, it will produce them, so I have that in terms of food, and I am gonna add some organic fertilizer to it as well. So anyway, so let's get started. I'm gonna show you what to do. Now I'm gonna use a big container. First I'm going to plant the ginger, and I'm going to plant the ginger in this container, okay? So there's big holes at the bottom, and what do you do to prevent the soil from falling out is you take a piece of, well, you can do different things. Some people recommend putting gravel. I don't like to add gravel. I don't like the roots getting locked into gravel, and I don't like roots sitting in wet rocks either without any soil. So what I do is I take a piece of flyer and I just lay it at the bottom. So I'm gonna tip the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Let's see if this is a little bit better, like that. Okay. So I just put the paper at the bottom. Sorry about that. And then I am going to take my potting or my seed mix here, soil mix, and I'm just going to fill this container. So unfortunately, it's hard to see. There. So just fill the container. So this container is, let's see here, This is about an 8-inch container, I think, or so, maybe 10-inch. So I'm gonna fill it 2/3 of the way. Okay, now just keep filling it. And now this mix is dry, so I'm gonna have to water it, and it will fall down as I do that. But in the meantime, I'm gonna fill it about 2/3 of the way. Maybe a little bit more. Like that. Now I'm going to add some organic fertilizer to it, and the organic fertilizer that I'm using is this one here. It's called Gaia's Green, and it's a 4-4-4, so nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And so this will cover the growth of like all of its needs, and it's a really natural one. So I'm going to add a 1/4 cup. This is about probably 2 liters in here, so I'm going to add this is about a 1/4 cup measuring. Add a 1/4 cup. And I'm gonna stir it all in. Now I'm not a big glove wearer, so I'm just gonna use my hands. I'm just gonna stir it all in. Okay, all the way to the bottom, and there we go. Now I'm going to take my ginger pieces, like so, and I've got 3 pieces right here, and I'm gonna lay them out at the bottom so they can grow. They have space to grow. So I'm putting this growing point out this way, that growing point out that way, and this one like here. Now maybe this container is a little bit small, and I can always pot it up later as it grows. So I'm just gonna use this for now. So that's all in there, and I'm gonna take this potting or this mix of soil, and I'm just gonna do it like maybe a 1-inch or 2-inch layer over top. Maybe a little bit more. Too deep and it'll just take a little bit longer for it to grow. Now I have done this before where I planted it directly on top of the soil and it was fine with the top half sticking out and it still grew, but I'm gonna try this method this time, okay? And that's my ginger. Now be sure to label your container, because once you plant it like this, you pot it up and you're waiting for something to come up, you won't forget what it is. So you definitely wanna label it. So I'm gonna label this later on, but I'll definitely stick a label in here and I'm gonna say ginger and I'm gonna say the date as well, and you wanna do that as well. Now let's move on to the next one. I'm gonna use this larger pot here because I have a bit more of this turmeric. And again, I'm going to take another piece of this flyer. Great way to recycle those flyers that come to your door that I find, I don't know about you, but I find them pretty annoying and a waste. But what I do is whenever I do get a flyer, I either line my pots with it when I'm starting seeds, or I add it to my compost, which is perfect because it's adds a really nice brown component. So I'm gonna take one more piece because this is a bigger pot and it has holes on the sides of the pot like this. So I'm trying to close that in. Eventually that news flyer will, it'll get wet and it'll start breaking down, but in the meantime, by the time it does that, there will be roots and soil will not be coming out. So this way really is a great way to keep that soil from falling out. Now I'm gonna do the same thing and I'm gonna fill this container 2/3 of the way full. So just do this. Okay. Making quite the mess. So hopefully you can see that. So I'm going to continue until it's about 2/3 of the way full. Now what I do is when I'm preparing my soil mix for starting seeds or for transplanting, I get a bucket like this and I put everything I need into it. So I put in my case I use Pro-Mix, and then I put my vermiculite because I like to add the vermiculite for just for extra like moisture absorption, but also to prevent it from drying and being just a little bit lighter and airier, even though there is already a perlite in the mix of Pro-Mix. And then I put my worm castings in and I stir it all up together, and then it makes it really, really easy to plant. I don't have to really work hard and think about it. I could just take it out of my bucket and it's done, and then when this is empty, then I redo it again. So this is a bigger container. This is probably 3 to 4 liters. So I'm gonna use another 1/4 cup of this Gaia's Green, mild type of light fertilizer, and I'm gonna put that in there, and I'm gonna take a little bit more because it's bigger, maybe another half of that. Okay, and I'm going to stir this up, and I'm gonna make sure that it goes all the way in and to the bottom. It's a little bit dusty. You may want to wear a mask if your medium is dry. Okay, a bit more. Yeah, that is dusty. Try not to breathe it in, my goodness. Okay, right to the bottom. There, it's all stirred in. Now I'm gonna take my turmeric. So here's my turmeric. And so this doesn't really have any started growing points, but I'm gonna lay this out flat like this, okay? And I'm gonna try to fit them all in. This one was quite dry, so I soaked it for a couple hours first. Put that in, just kind of space them out. Maybe if there's growing tips right here, you wanna push those, you wanna have those leaning out on the outside. This one, I don't really see anything. No, I'm gonna keep this one to eat because I don't really see anything happening on that and it might take longer. Here's a couple of growing tips here. And then there's a couple there. I had soaked this as well. Okay, now it's all at the top of the soil, as you could see. Has plenty of room for it to grow. And again, if this starts to really fill in, and we're gonna be a while away from that point, I can always take this whole thing and pot up into a bigger container. So now I'm gonna top up the soil again with a 2 inches. Okay. There we go. Just pat it down gently. Then now that these both are done, I'm gonna put the camera. Okay, so now that both of the pots are planted, I am going to water them really well and I'll let them soak probably in the sink because this medium is quite dry. Definitely will not forget to put a label in because, you know, I want to remember, and even though I see that the smaller pot is ginger and the larger pot is turmeric, I'll probably forget. And because it does take a while, you need to have some patience, maybe 2 weeks before you see anything coming up. So definitely have some patience waiting for this to sprout. But once it does, it's lovely. The leaves of the turmeric I've not grown from rhizome, but I have with ginger, and even the leaves are aromatic. You can actually clip them and add them to tea, use them as you would with lemongrass. It does take quite a while, maybe 9 months or so, to produce rhizomes that can be harvested, but once you do, and once they're ready for harvest, they're absolutely beautiful. There's no skin on the ginger. It's like almost yellowy pink. It's so fresh, and the flavor is like unlike anything else. Now I grow a lot. I do eat a lot of ginger here, so I'm looking forward to growing my own. Very, very easy to start these plants from the rhizomes you purchase at the grocery store, and if you can choose organic, do so. But my turmeric is not organic, so you know you have to do what you can with what you have. So do your best. Now if this doesn't grow, the turmeric one doesn't grow, then that's okay. Then I can always start some more. I can always try to find a really healthy piece at the health food store next time and plant that again. So anyway, that's it for me. Thanks so much for watching. Now, if you have planted ginger and turmeric like this, let me know in the comments below and your experience. I'd love to hear your feedback. And I will definitely post updates. I'll do another video update or maybe several in the future and let you know what's happening. And then again, at the very end, once I'm ready to harvest, I will definitely post a video update and show you how I harvest it and, you know, maybe even taste it fresh. So we'll see. Otherwise, that's it. So if you like my video, please give me a like. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Click the subscribe button below and definitely click the notification bell to be notified of any new videos that come up. Look forward to chatting with you all again soon. Thanks so much for watching and happy gardening.